I said, well, I'll try 2 a day, and I got up to 3 a day. So if I do something half-heartedly, then how much more can someone else do? And so this is anti-aging technology, because we really believe there's 2 diseases. One is the word disease, and the other one is aging. And that's the only disease I believe that needs to be treated is aging. And you can reverse the aging process. Maybe not the number, but your chronological health. And I am so excited about having Dr. Fizz as well as Andrea here to discuss this to us. And thank you for coming and being with us. And by the way, if you're parked out there, do not go off in that grass. Not because we want to keep nice grass up, we will have to have a tow truck to get you out of it. All right, because we've had our own little floods around here. And so if you're parked, be cognizant of other people's issues and try not to get in a hurry, or you could be in trouble if you get off the sidewalk. All right, so without any further ado, this is Dr. Fizz from Fargo, North Beach.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us down. I appreciate it. You know, he was talking about aging and disease and like we were just talking about. I mean, you pick an age and you say, that's how long I want to live. What's interesting, I know that Dr. Thomas and I have gone to some of the same seminars learning about anti-aging, and you hear the word anti-aging, and you know, if you start thinking about it, anti means stop, right?
Yeah.
So what's the opposite of aging? Dying.
Yes.
Right? So we really don't want anti-aging, right? We just want to stop aging. We want to reverse it. Wouldn't it be nice to stay young the rest of your life if you could look in the mirror 70 years from now and look exactly the way you do now?
Mm-hmm.
Would you love that? Would you love it if you could look at her? If you aged and she didn't?
I'd like to do this.
I wouldn't like that.
Right? But you know what I mean? I mean, wouldn't it be nice if you could, if you could stop aging that way? And like Dr. Thomas was saying, they're figuring this stuff out. And I got into chiropractic practice 33 years ago. I had a bad back in high school, and I'd been going to school for engineering when I first graduated from high school. I went through 3 years of engineering, but I had a bad back, and so every month at least I went to the chiropractor and got my back adjusted, and that's what got me to decide that's what I want to be. I want to be a chiropractor, not an engineer, right? So sometimes you wonder, why do doctors go on to be a brain surgeon? If they're doing it for the same reason. I had back problems, and maybe they have brain problems. Right? Some of them do, right? The ones you say? Some of them do. But it's interesting when you look at animals out there. There's some animals that just don't seem to age. Right? There's jellyfish that, you take them apart, dissect them, and they're basically the same on the inside the day you dissect them as when they were maybe born years ago.
Really?
They didn't change. There's turtles, like sea turtles, that never seem to age. You look at a bacteria from the day that, I don't know if you want to say they're born, but from the day that they came alive to the day they die, internally, once they mature, they're the same. And so we've kind of been looking for that fountain of youth for thousands and thousands of years. And I decided, like you, I wanted to live, at first it was 100. I thought it'd be kind of cool to live to be 100. And then when I saw that people were living to be 100, then I thought 110 would be cool. And I'm with you, 120. That's the age I picked out. Aubrey de Grey, we were talking about Aubrey de Grey earlier. And he's kind of like the icon of medicine. He looks like Father Time, like Andrea said, he looks like Father Time. You know, he's probably in his 50s, maybe even in his 40s, but he's got a long gray beard down to here. He looks like Father Time. And he's probably one of the icons in the anti-aging industry. And I was at a seminar out in California, Aubrey de Grey, and I was at a seminar out in California. I met him, I guess it was 3 years ago. And at that time, they had said, Time magazine even had a cover on it. They said that the first baby to live to be 150 years old was probably born at that time. That was about 3 or 4 years ago. Remember that Time magazine cover?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to carry that magazine around with me because I thought anti-aging is mainstream. When Time magazine reports it, isn't that mainstream? Wouldn't you consider that mainstream? And Albert de Grey Laster said that the first person to live to be 250 was probably born last year.
Really?
250. Can you imagine? Can you imagine living to be 250 years old? Holy cow, will you know some stuff, right? I mean, you read some history now. Can you imagine living through the Civil War and be able to talk about living through, you know, the 1800s and being able to talk about it now? That you'd have all that knowledge in your head if you were 250 years old now. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes.
I really think it would be. So I like that. I get really passionate about it. You know, I got a lot of awards in my clinic. I was selected as one of America's top chiropractors in 2004. And I just tell people, all those awards, they really mean nothing. It doesn't make me a better person. It doesn't make me a better doctor, right? An award doesn't make me a better doctor. You know what it is? It's in here. It's caring about people and being passionate about what you do, enjoying what you do. Before you all got here, Dr. Lecky was showing me all the stuff that he got back in his office, and I'm just going, wow. Right? Mm-hmm. He's amazing. And you can tell it's not just that he has the technology. He's into it the same way that I'm into it. He wants to help all of us get healthier so you can live to be 120, so you can live to be 250, so you can stay young for the rest of your life. And I like that. I like that. I think that's where it all comes from. So when I was putting together my slide presentation, I was trying to come up with a title, and I write all my own slides. I do all my own work, and so I was coming up with my slides. I'm trying to think, what do I call it? And I thought, you know, wouldn't it be nice to get old but not have to age as you do it? Hang on one second. I forgot to tell everybody, shut your phones off. I didn't shut mine off. All right, so, but getting old without feeling the effects of aging would be nice. And do you have the lights in here?
Yeah, she's about to put it.
Over there. Okay. There you go. And you start looking at people, and on average, most people live 20% of their life in poor health.
Well,
They get to be old, and they have all the old age diseases. And really, when we look at it, we can't stop aging. We're going to get older, but maybe we can delay the onset of some of those diseases. Maybe we can make it so that we don't have a weakened immune system. Maybe we can make it so people don't get arthritis and cancer and these things that we were talking about earlier this afternoon when I got here. And it's interesting. The director of the National Institutes of Health, Ezekiel Emanuel, you've heard that name. Ezekiel Emanuel, his brother was actually one of the architects of Obamacare. Ezekiel Emanuel, he said that we should all want to be dead by the time we're 75.
Woo.
What do you think of that?
No, it's crazy.
75. He said after the age of 75, we're an economic burden. We don't contribute to society anymore. All we are is a burden to our family. We're a burden to the planet. And I started thinking, who put him in charge of the National Institutes of Health?
That's right.
Right? Who decided that? And we look at the population. You can look at yourself. You can look at your family. You can look at your neighbors. We're all getting older. This comes from Colorado. They showed in 2012, 12% of the population was over the age of 65. By the year 2025, which is just down the road, 17%. By the year 2040, they're saying that's going to be 19% of the population is going to be over the age of 65. So we're all getting older. this graph here shows in a pie chart the same thing. But what I think is interesting is over here in orange, this is the age group 25 to 49. In the gray is the over 50-year-olds. So you can see here in 1950, it was 16%. Over here in 2015, which just a couple years ago, it had gone from 16% to 23%. By 2050, which again, it's only 30 years down the road, it's going to be 33%. And by the year 2100, it's going to be 40%. So you can see the population in the gray is growing all the time, right? We're the older population. We're the ones that are supposed to be relaxing and enjoying what they call the golden years, right? And the people who contribute to our golden years, that are contributing, we contributed in Social Security to take care of the people that were retiring while we were working, and then the people who are contributing to the Social Security, to the fund when we're retired. You can see that as our population is growing, look what's happening to the orange. The working group. This is the people in their prime working years. What's happening with that?
Shrinking.
Pretty much staying the same, isn't it? Do you see that? From 1950 to 2100, it's almost the same, 32%, and down here, 2100, they're predicting it's still going to be 30%. So as I go around, and Dr. Lucky, I'm sure you've seen this as well, a lot of the talks that they're talking about is they're saying we're going to be a burden on society. We're going to cost the world a lot of money to take care of us. Because they're thinking that we're all going to be sick, because that's what they see, that old people get sick. Right? Isn't that what they're saying?
Yeah.
When you go apply for insurance, they ask you your age.
Yeah.
Because they think the older you get, you're going to be sicker, you're going to cost the insurance company more money. And so as I go to these anti-aging seminars, they're telling us that we're going to bankrupt the world. Not just the United States, but we're going to bankrupt the whole world, because how do we take care of all these old people? Us. Right? And so as you look at some of the things that are happening, and I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the presentation, I throw in a little bit of my conspiracy theory into this. I hope you don't mind.
I was just thinking about it.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind. I know you see some of my stuff when you read my newsletter. I have kind of my own theories on some things, and I bring it into it. But we've done a good job of extending lifespan. If you look at the way back when cavemen, if a caveman lived to be 25 years old, they were considered to be an old man. That was old. Move into the year 1492 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, right? If you made it to 30, you were old. So from way back in caveman days to Columbus's days, aging didn't change very much, did it? 5 or 10 years. Move up into the 1700s, around the time of George Washington. If you lived to be 30, 35, you were old. So from caveman days to George Washington, the beginning of our country, it hadn't changed much. Get into the 1800s, the late 1800s. If you lived to be 45, you were old. You were old at the age of 45. But look what's happened now. In the 20th century, all of a sudden, boom, people are living to be 80 years old. Right? My son sells insurance, and when you take and go to the tables and you plan on how much money you're going to have to retire, they plan on you living to be 80 years old now. Why? Because it's common to live to be 80 years old. 100 years ago, that wasn't the case. And so we've done a good job of extending lifespan. But along with that, people are getting sicker. They're having more cancer. They're predicting that by the year 2050, 100% of people will have cancer. By the year 2050, that's 30 years from now. They're saying by the year 2040, they're saying 50% of people, older people will have Alzheimer's. They're saying that we're going to have more kidney disease than we do right now. All these diseases of aging, they're just going to get more and more and more. And so what they're talking about at all the anti-aging seminars that I'm going to, and I'm sure Dr. Lucky's going to, is they're talking now about how do we improve the health span? How do we make it so that the number of years that you're healthy equals the numbers of years that you're alive? And isn't that important? Isn't that more important? Wouldn't you rather die at 80 healthy than be sick from the age of 80 to 120? Live those extra 40 years and not even know who you are.
Right.
Wouldn't it be more important to stay healthy right up until you're 80, right?
Yes.
And so that's what I kind of talk about when I'm out doing my talks, is that we want to start working on that, what's called that health span. And I think it starts by looking at the diseases. What are the diseases that are affecting all of us? And so when you look at the 10 top causes of death in the United States, heart disease is up there on top, although in 2017 that switched. Cancer actually passed heart disease as the #1 killer in the United States. So that this chart is probably from 2016 or earlier. But heart disease was the #1. Oops.
This is the #1 killer right now.
Right. Things falling on your head. But
One of our agents.
I felt like it's the devil.
#2 is lung cancer. #3 is COPD, which is a lung disease. Stroke. Respiratory infections, like pneumonia. Alzheimer's. Type 2 diabetes. Colorectal cancer. Breast cancer. Prostate cancer. So, what's the common thing amongst all 10 of those diseases? Aren't they all preventable?
Yeah.
Aren't they all preventable, Doc? Are those all? They're all preventable, right? And so when these countries and people like Ezekiel Emanuel are trying to tell us that we should want to be dead by the time we're 75 because we're going to get these diseases, look at the onset. The average age of first occurrence, I mean, almost all of us are at the age group where if we don't have this, we better start watching for it because they're saying we're going to get it. And no wonder they're saying we're going to bankrupt the world. Because they're going to be taking care of a bunch of sick people. We're going to be alive, but we're going to have all these things going on. And so, as we look at this, we want to start looking at what can we do to prevent that? What do we want to do so that we don't become that burden? And that's really how we have to start looking at it. Because it costs a lot of money to get old. And I'm 57 years old. Back in 1970, when I was 8 years old, the cost of health care in America was only about 6% of the total amount of money that was spent in our country. 6%. You look at that graph, by 1980 it was 10%, by 1990 it was up to 12, 13%. You can see it's up past 15%. It's closing in on 20%. So it's gone up 4 times, right? The cost of health care. And you can see it's a pretty linear graph. Wouldn't you say that this is pretty much a straight line? If this keeps going the way it's going, let's say over here in 2050, where's that number going to be?
35.
I mean, it's going to be closing in on 35, 40% of all the money that you spend will go to health care. So you can see why the governments of the world are saying that we're going to be a big burden. And so you got guys like Doc over here and myself and all of you that are saying, screw that, right? We want to do something about it. We want to be more proactive and figure out how do we avoid going to that kind of thing? How do we avoid having those problems so we don't have to treat it so we can save those dollars? And this was interesting. When I was writing these slides, I wasn't aware of this. I always told people that aging isn't a disease. And like Dr. Lucky said, the two things that, you have disease and then you have aging. Last year, did you know this, Don? Last year in the ICD-11, it's the code book that has all the different names of all the diseases that people get. They classify all of them. Did you know they classified aging as a disease last year? August of 2018, aging was classified as a disease in the ICD-11 book. And when I was down in Australia, one doctor said to me, he said, yeah, but that's just the United States. I said, no. This is by the World Health Organization, which is a branch of the United Nations. So, here's where some more of my conspiracy theory comes into play. Start thinking about this. If they're going to spend the money to write a book that's going to be written in different languages, remember this is the United Nations, this is the world, and they're going to write a book, and this book is about this thick. Doc, wouldn't you say that book is about 4 or 5 inches thick? Yeah, with all the diseases. My son's going to medical school right now. He said, yeah, but Dad, they have diseases in there that they're never going to use the code. I said, but they just changed it. They added. How much did it cost to change a book like that? $100,000, $1 million, millions of dollars? I mean, I'm guessing it costs a lot of money. So there's a reason that they added aging to that. And part of the reason is because if you go to the doctor and they say, well, what you're getting old. Well, what's the treatment? What's the treatment for getting old?
Stem cells.
To that.
Stem cells.
They don't have a treatment, right? So they say, well, you're getting old, it's just part of aging. Tom, we're going to send you home. Guess how they just saved healthcare dollars? They just saved billions of, maybe trillions of dollars by just saying, you're old, and we're not going to treat you. How many dollars did they just save? If you told all your patients that, how much money would you have just saved their insurance company?
That'll actually save a lot of lives, won't it?
Yeah. Because
It might save a lot.
won't be
We won't
doing
even go there. That's another story. But, so, I'm just trying to get everybody to think the way that I think, and this is some of my conspiracy stuff. My kids, they say, Dad, and you know how your kids get with you, but that's how they are with me. And so, what I try and say is that, so the answer to it really is, we have to look at it that we're going to do something to lower the vulnerability to illness. We're going to increase the health span. We're going to extend the health span so we prevent the chronic disease. And a lot of it comes from diet, learning how to eat right. How much does that cost you? Nothing, right? You have to eat. Some of us eat too much. Exercise. We all need to get exercise. I was at an anti-aging seminar down in Florida 2 years ago, and they were talking about Alzheimer's, and they said that to prevent Alzheimer's, you have to start doing muscle building exercise, right? And when you go to the doctor, a lot of times as you get older, what do they tell you? They say cardiovascular, right? They get you on the treadmill, and they tell you to go for walks and things like that. Do they ever tell you that you need to start pumping iron? Has your doctor told you that? Go start pumping some iron, and it's going to prevent Alzheimer's? They actually found that. They've stuck millions of dollars into studies to show that. But yet most doctors don't know that. And so these are the things that you're going to find out from docs like Dr. Lucky, where he's progressive, he's learning these things. I'm learning these things. Avoid smoking, avoid drinking too much alcohol. All these different things are going to help. And these are going to be the natural solutions which is really the answer. So the great news is that we've got a lot of these things. I was just telling Dr. Lucky that as I was putting this slide together, these slides together, I was reading up on a study that Mayo Clinic came out with, and if Mayo Clinic, if you're listening to our presentation, it's all right. But they're coming out, they said they're going to be the premier clinic for anti-aging. They're coming out, they're doing drug test trials on a drug right now that they say will be an anti-aging drug. And you're going to be shocked what it's based on. It's based on a chemotherapy drug.
Oh, that's sick.
What now? Say that again.
It's based on a chemotherapy drug.
Crazy.
Huh.
That's
So,
crazy.
in your right mind, would you ever take chemotherapy to stay alive longer?
No.
Would you even think about doing that?
No.
It doesn't even make sense to me. But when you start looking at some of the new science on senolytics and things like that, it does actually fit into there, and there is actually some science, there is actually some basis to it. But, you know, as like I looked at Dr. Lucky's shelf and looked at all the different, you know, things that he has there that can work like that, wouldn't you rather do a natural product that works better without the side effects?
Sure.
Yes.
But the problem with it is there's not a lot of money in the types of things that we do with the natural products. I mean, if I tell you to go home and eat some food, I can't make much money with that. And so that's where the drug companies, they don't fall in line with that. But we do have some anti-aging drugs. There's skincare products out there. I mean, there's anti-aging skincare products that can make a 50-year-old look like they're 20 or 30. There's products that can make a 60-year-old look like they're, you know, 30 or 40. I mean, it's just amazing what we have. And not only just make a person look younger, but there's products that can make a person so that they actually have younger skin. We've got some physical therapy modalities, and I don't know, you know, Doc, if you classify your stuff to be physical therapy modalities, but I kind of throw it into that category. 12 years ago, I was riding a Harley down the road, and some guy ran a stop sign, hit me at 65 miles an hour, tore my right leg off. It was dangling off the side. Actually, it was up here by my ear when I woke up on the highway, and it was hanging on by threads. And they airlifted me 4 hours away to a hospital, and they put my leg back on. They told me that I'd never walk again, but they wanted to amputate my leg. They said if I didn't have my leg amputated and I didn't get a prosthetic, I'd never walk again. I'm walking, right? I've done a lot of work, and that's how, you know, I got to know the doctor that introduced Dr. Lucky into what we're doing. We're using pulse electromagnetic field therapy. It's a type of modality, and it saved my life. It got me walking again. And then last year I did stem cell injections in my leg, and it improved it. Because before last year, my accident was 12 years ago. Before last year, I couldn't balance on one leg. My leg was that bad, I couldn't do this. And after the stem cell injections, I got better to where I could do that. So stem cell. We've got surgery. I mean, they can take and they can do heart transplants and lung transplants and liver transplants. And we can take and give people new shoulders and hips and knees. I mean, surgeries are amazing. I think the new surgeries that they have, I mean, it is crazy stuff. Last year in Russia, they did a brain transplant. It didn't go so well. They have to do it again. They'll try it again. But they're already attempting things like that. So surgery is really coming a long way. And just educating people how to do things so they can prevent illness, and nutritional therapy with vitamins and minerals, and knowing what extracts to use, and diet like we talked about. These are all things. This is the good news. But wouldn't you say that every time somebody says, oh, I got good news, don't they always say, I got bad news too?
Yeah.
The bad news is, if you were to do everything that you wanted to do to prevent getting old, it's going to cost you somewhere between $10,000 to $20,000 a year. If you're married, double that. What families have that? Does the average family have an extra $10,000 to $20,000 a year just to spend on being healthy, because they're still going to have to buy insurance for this catastrophic type things. So the problem with it is that the anti-aging things that you need to do are going to come out of your own pocket. You're going to be paying for it yourself. And I grew up in a small town in North Dakota, a little town of about, there was 100 people, I think there's 50 people now that live in the town that I grew up in. I was telling Andrea some stories of when I grew up. I went to first and second grade with 4 kids, right? Can you imagine? I was the top 25% of the class. And for fun, I'd read the dictionary. But in a small town, you learn how to, you don't have stores to go buy food and things like that, and you don't have stores to go buy things. So you learn how to make do with stuff, and so I learned how to be real thrifty, and I like to kind of pass it on to people. How can you get it to where you can make it so it's more affordable? And so that's where I got involved with the business of network marketing or multi-level marketing, and I'm going to plug that just a little bit on the idea, because it's a business where if you go to, say, Walmart and you buy something there and you like what you bought and you tell me, hey, go buy this product, it was really good, do they ever pay you for telling me that? No. Not at all. What I like about network marketing is that if you tell me about it and I go buy the product, you get paid a little bit of money. If I go tell somebody else about it, I get paid a little bit of money, and so on and so forth. And you can actually build a business with it. And if the company has some real good products, it's easy to share. And for somebody like me, I mean, as a doctor, what I always try and tell people is that if I show you something and it doesn't work, you're not going to really go after the company and say, oh, they had crappy products. What you're going to do is you're going to come back to me and you're going to say, Kurt, what was that junk that you sold me? Isn't that how it is when your friends tell you about something?
Yeah.
You go back to them, you don't go back to the company. And so I've always been careful on these types of things. I want to find companies that I know that I can personally put my name on it. And after I got in my motorcycle wreck, I spent 2 years in a wheelchair, and I had to figure out a way that I could run a business out of a wheelchair. I still had 3 teenage boys at home, a single father. I had 3 teenage boys at home. How am I going to, help them have, make sure that I had enough to provide for my family? And so that's how I really got into the business. And I went looking for a company that I really felt like I could put my name on it. And that's where I found this company called Sizzle. So I don't know if anybody here has been on the Sizzle products long enough to really share any kind of story. Dr. Lucky, do you want to share any stories of people that have taken any of the products? People in your clinic?
Sure.
Can we
You wanna
turn the
come on up
lights
here?
back on? We can't see you. It's all dark.
What's that?
What?
It's all dark. Can we turn the lights back on?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, like I've said, I've been using this probably close to a year now, and I saw incredible results. So I guinea pigged some of my clientele, and to see what would happen with them, who actually took it at much higher rates than I did, and because that's the way my patients are. You take a little bit. And Dr. Lucky believes a little bit, I must take double that amount. So, because a little bit goes a little ways, but a lot will go a whole longer ways. And so I started one gentleman on it, and he had real thin hair, and he was taking it like 6 to 8, 9 pills a day. And of course now his hair is so thick, absolutely thick. It's tremendous actually, and it's turned about 2 shades of color as well. So he was one case. Well, he shared it with his mother, and his mother's 91 years of age, and his mother's been bald for 20 years up here on the top. And so she began taking it about the same way. And literally in a couple months, she had regrew all her hair back. And she's having to go to the hairdresser to do her cutting of her hair. And she's so excited about that. I've seen people that's had, like I've said before, a lady that had pulmonary fibrosis is a condition. This is a very bad condition and couldn't breathe at all. And we do a lot of things here in the clinic here. And this is 9 years ago, she was told she was going to die. And so I'm 9 years behind the 8 ball. And so that means 8 ball in Mississippi is a bad situation when she comes to me. And so I actually started working with her, doing all that we do around here, and she started showing some improvement. And we're giving her 100% oxygen, we're using EWAT, we're using hydrogen therapy, we're doing everything, inhalation hydrogen therapy, supplementation, and she's coming along. But when I actually did the EWAT, that usually she could only retain oxygen for about 5 minutes at the most. That was about it. And literally her oxygen would go to 100% when you're giving them 100%. And EWAT is exercise with oxygen, exercise with oxygen therapy. So you're giving a 100% oxygen face mask to them. And you exercise them on a treadmill or some kind of device that increases their heart rate. And so she did okay, but she was stuck at that plateau. And she would drop all the way down to 85, 88% sat. We got the age period, and we started on that, and we started it prior to using EWAT, and it wasn't 2 or 3 weeks later, her oxygen went to 96%. It stayed 96% until the next day. And that was a phenomenal change that you cannot explain by anything, actually, other than a miracle from God. So that was really encouraging to me. I've seen a lot of different things with people with sugar issues and help stabilizing blood sugar with it. We've had people, especially with exercise, increases endurance in exercise. It changes your skin. I mean, that's what the hair is, you know. This is your skin. It changes the internal part of your body, the internal skin, which is your intestinal tract as well. We have people that have problems with that. And a lot of my patients are out of town. I don't have a whole lot of patients from here, actually. They come from all over the United States and all over the country, all over the world. And so it's hard, actually, to get them here. And I don't know if anybody in here is on. Are you? Anybody's on?
I've had it.
You've been on?
I've been.
Okay. Have you had any experience with it? Of course, you're all this healthy fanatic anyway, so you're like me. So that's really. I'm just trying to think of like I had one guy that worked in a pipeline up in Ohio, and he was exhausted all the time from work, and had a lot of pain doing pipeline work, and he got on it. He grew back his hair, and his energy level went up to the roof, and he didn't have pain anymore with that, and he was quite impressed, and these people are still taking it today, and so I don't know, my wife's not here, so she's half of my brain missing right now. I think that's about it.
Does it help things like breathing and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit more about that.
Well, see, that's one of the issues. Pulmonary fibrosis is where your lungs are just covered with they call them honeycomb lesions, and I mean it looks like you're fixing to die when you have an X-ray because it's just loaded with scar tissue. It's just ineffective lungs that not supposed to work ever again. Actually, it's an incurable condition. So you're not supposed to get any improvement with that kind of condition. Even with the high dose steroids, it may be sort of slow it down. They've got some antibody type related drugs that they use today that they seem some limited benefit, but very expensive and very toxic as well. Sometimes you die of a drug, actually. It's really no reason for it. So that's my benchmark for that woman to improve with this. And she had the worst breathing you could ever have. And I know, this age pill, but it was also the EWAT, and it was a combination of two. Everything works together. It's the hydrogen actually is connected to that too, which, of course, I use the hydrogen as well. So anyway, that's about all I have to say.
Yeah.
I had pneumonia not long after I was born. And then I had asthma most of my life. And I feel like that was probably because of pneumonia when I was little. And then I had cancer just a few years ago, and it was in my lungs at one point, so that's kind of why I'm asking that question. Because I've never been able to breathe exactly the way I want to be able to breathe. I don't smoke or do anything like that.
You quit smoking, you said?
Never smoked.
Oh, never smoked. Good.
Speaking of smoking, I saw a guy that worked for an ambulance on the way here, sitting outside of his ambulance smoking and sitting in front of Taco Bell KFC, and I kind of lost trust in the medical community.
Right. Yeah, they invest not in just in things to keep you healthy, but then if you look at their retirement plan, they have a lot of their money invested in Marlboro and the cigarette companies. Like, they got you coming and going. They're gonna make money off you. So, but Andrea, I know you got a story.
Yeah, I thought I would come up and share my experience of using some of these anti-aging products. Initially, when I got started with the Doc and with his company, they didn't have the big age pill, which has been a really blockbuster product for us. But they did have liquid supplements called the Triangle of Life. And I had a few health problems going on, and he sent me a video, and I went, I need that right now, I need that. So I took that for a while. And then about 4 months later, I got word that, they were coming out with this age pill. And the word that they put out was, well, what if you could take a pill and be like you're 20 again? And I went, what? This can't be real, So I went out and did some research and discovered that there is 20 years of anti-aging medicine out there. And there are natural substances that they're finding that restore the body and get rid of degeneration in the body. So I got pretty excited about that. And when the age pill came out, I took it. I was doing a double dose. I'm 64, so I had to do double dose for about 3 months, because of how it functions. So I did that, and initially what I noticed within 5 days is my skin improved. And I thought that was pretty soon for me to see any symptom of change at all. But my skin improved, and at 8 days, and this was and still is my biggie. I had not been able to remember numbers for about 3 or 4 years. So if somebody gave me a phone number, like if they sent it to me in an email and I wanted to put it in my phone, I would have to go back and forth. Maybe some of you can relate to this. You have to go back and forth to get that number in there so you know it's correct. You have to look and go back, and look and go back. And it was driving me crazy. And at 8 days, I was setting up a pay system in my phone, so I had to do an 8-digit number. So I just read it, I went over here and I put it in. And my jaw dropped. I went, what? And I was with my adult daughter and I said, I can't believe I just did that. And she goes, what happened? And I told her, and she said, that's amazing, Mom. Because my kids all know that I've been saying for 3 years, hey, if it happened yesterday, I don't remember it. So I got my memory back. And I called him up and I said, how in the world did I get my memory back in 8 days? Like, how could I have done that? I've been struggling with this for 3 or 4 years. And he says, well, it removed the glycation in your brain. And your brain's functioning better. And I went, that's cool, So I have a list of things that have changed. I used to have really deep grooves in all my fingernails, and now all of these fingers are smooth. I still have a little bit of grooves in my thumb, but the rest are all smooth. Hair grew, my eyelashes grew, my skin continued to improve. I had stretch marks on my body that faded. Anything related to skin was really good. At 4 months, I noticed I'd had neuropathy in the lower half of my legs for about 4 years. All went away, no more pain there. I had pain around this ankle, and I didn't know what that was, but I asked a podiatrist once, and she said, well, there's a really deep, big nerve there. And so and it felt like nerve pain. So I went, okay, it's nerve pain. That went away at 7 months. And the back of my hands, like when I went like that, my veins were all raised. So I had heard that other people were getting rid of spider veins, varicose veins, things like that. And I had a younger friend than me who was saying she was going to a vein clinic. And I said, oh wait, before you do that, I'm hearing that people are getting good results with veins. And I hadn't even really looked at mine. And that day I looked and I went, what? And they were like half down, but they were all puffy like my mother, and she's 23 years older than me. And they were all stood up, you know, on the back of my hands, and I noticed they were half down. And I'm gonna like show you, like they're gone. They're flat, you know. And so they got better. So that was 4 months too, and then, you know, like within 2-3 more months they were just flat. So I had that. What else? My hair is getting darker in the back. Like I used to be a much deeper red color in my hair. And it's faded and faded and faded, you know, and so it's still light in the front, but it's getting deeper in the back and grows like crazy. I have to get my hair cut all the time. I think that's about it, you know, but what I think about is if I'm seeing all this stuff on the outside, what's going on the inside? You know, my organs are getting younger, you know, all of that stuff. That's really good. So there you go.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for both for sharing. You know, I've been doing anti-aging. Like you, I decided, I mean, I don't want to die. I want to live to be a ripe old age. And I just think that, wouldn't it be nice to go through life and you're healthy, and then, you know, you get to a certain age, you just go, you know, I think tomorrow's the day. You're just gone. Wouldn't that be the best way to do it?
Yeah.
Rather than what we see most people. Doc, wouldn't you agree? Most people, they're healthy, and then all of a sudden they're down here, and they're sick for years and years and years and years and years. So I've started taking products a long time ago. If you saw what I do, I take I take my bottle of this, I dump it in a saucer, a breakfast bowl saucer, and I take that bottle, and by the time I'm done, I've got a saucer full. That's my morning pills. Then I have another saucer, I'm dumping in my evening pills, and then I have another saucer for my dog, I dump all his pills, because I don't want him to die either, right? So he's my buddy. Usually, this time I got Andrea with me. Usually I'll have my black lab travel in the country with me, and he goes everywhere. 11 years old and acts like a young dog, but we hear this, and I'll just give a testimony for this one product that you've heard Andrea and Dr. Lucky talk about. I went to that anti-aging conference out in California 3 years ago, and they were talking about this glycation stuff. And what glycation is, has everybody ever had fried fish or fried chicken?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
We've all had fried fish or fried chicken. Right? And if you take that fish, which is a protein, and you roll it in eggs, and then you roll it in flour, flour's white, but if you throw it in a pan of hot oil, what color does the flour turn into?
Brown.
Right? A golden brown. Just like McDonald's French fries turn a golden brown. Because the sugars, when they react with the hot oil, that causes glycation. Inside your body, it's hot in there. It's an oven. So when you eat food, right, Joel, when we were talking earlier, when you eat food like bananas, even though it's good for you, it's got sugar in it, right? And when that sugar reacts with oil, because you eat other foods like avocado, do you eat avocado? It's got oils, and when that hot oil and the sugar react, guess what you get? Glycation, right? So even if you eat healthy, you get glycated end products, right? You get the damage. And like I try and tell people, if I go start my truck, are you going to go out there and put your nose on my exhaust and breathe it in? Would you do that?
Never.
No, you're not going to do it. Because as the car is burning gasoline as energy, it gives off carbon monoxide and other toxins. Your body, as you're burning sugar as energy, it's giving off toxins, glycated end products. When you're burning fat as energy, you're giving off another thing called lipofuscin. And lipofuscin, especially for you guys in the room, you know what that is like. if you've ever taken taken an old car and you're going to clean it up, put it back on the road, you take the plug out of the oil pan and all that oil. Have you ever done that? Have you ever? And it comes out kind of sludgy, doesn't it? It doesn't come out clean looking oil. It comes out black and gummy. That's lipofusion. And you've got that in your body. If you've ever ate anything that has fat in it, you have lipofusion. And it's like having all this gummy, tarry type stuff in your system. And so this age pill, real simply, what does it do? It takes that stuff out. You don't have to be a scientist to know how to say that, do you? It's pretty simple, right? Could you tell people that? And you know, when you find your Camaro that you're going to fix up someday, I'll help you find one if you're looking. And when you find that stuff and you get it running, you want to keep it so it runs forever. Isn't that what you want to do with your body? I mean, if you had a pristine 1967 Corvette, would you take care of it?
Oh yeah.
Would you change the oil before the oil light came on?
Oh yeah.
Right? But why is it that we go to the doctors after we're sick?
Exactly.
We don't. Did your doctor ever tell you change your oil once a year, do a detox, clean that stuff out? They don't do that, but wouldn't that help? Doesn't it make sense? So that's the kind of stuff that they're finding when you go to the anti-aging conferences, is that you got to get the stuff out so you can put the good stuff in. My testimony on this, when I started taking this product, I went to school for engineering before I went into chiropractic, and I, like Andrew, I was really good with numbers. You could tell me your number, I'd remember your number. I could remember people's names. I mean, I'd meet them once, I'd remember their name for the rest of the time. And as I got older, and like most of us guys probably, you have a pocket full of Post-it notes. You write stuff on a little piece of paper, put it in your pocket. End of the day, you get home. Does he ever come home with a pocket full of paper? And you're like, well, what's this? You know, does he do that?
I do them on my phone.
You do? Oh, you do. See, that's the thing with technology. Now you can write that on the phone. But I'd always come home with a pocket full of Post-it notes and all these different things. Now I don't have to do that. I remember things again like I used to, just like Andrew was saying. I mean, I feel like I got the memory I had when I was 20 or 30 years old. I'm 57 years old. But the other thing that I noticed is all of a sudden I noticed I don't need to have my cheater glasses anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even know where they are. Those little glasses in your pocket, I used to have them with me all the time. I don't have to wear those anymore. I sit there, and Andrea knows, I'll pull up my phone. I've got my computer with me, but I'll sit there and I'll do all my computer work on my phone. I don't know why I do that.
My eyesight's improved too. I forgot to say that.
Yeah, but I don't even know where my reading glasses are. So that's my testimony on it. And I just feel like I've got energy to go and go and go and go and go. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the company itself, so you kind of get an idea, so you feel as comfortable with it that I do. And I know some people, they don't have a good, warm, fuzzy feeling about network marketing because there's some scams out there. And I've been involved with some of them myself, and I go, oh crap, I'm not going to ever do that again. But Dr. Lucky and I, we're in it to help people. We're in this business of medicine to help people. Are you in it to make $1 gazillion? My son's going to medical school right now, and he said, Dad, he said, there's some kids that went to school, that's what they're there for. My son's in it to help people just like I am, just like Dr. Lucky is in it. But what's cool is that the owner of Sizzle, the Mowers, 33 years ago, they got in this business for the same reason. So they're on the same mission that we are. They're on a mission of coming up with products. If you read the Maurer mission is to help people live happy, healthier, pain-free lives, and a way to make money so you can have enough money to enjoy life. Because isn't that what it's about? It's not about getting up and going to work, coming home, eating dinner, going back to bed, get up next day, go to work, eat dinner, go to bed, get up, right? And isn't that what a lot of your friends do? Isn't that what a lot of people do? It's just that same routine, day and day and day. And they can't wait till Friday so they can sleep on Saturday. No way. I'm not into that. And So it's a family-owned business, which is really good. We were talking about another company, Dr. Lucky was talking about another company that was a really good company, they had great products, they sold out to a company and they had stockholders. All of a sudden they have to answer to the stockholders rather than answer to us, the customers. So we've got this company set up in a way that it'll always be family-owned. We manufacture our own products, so we know what's going in there. We know what the raw ingredients are. When it comes into the factory, we quarantine the raw ingredients so that we know if there's anything wrong with it, we're shipping it out, we're not going to use it. But a lot of companies, what they'll do is they'll take those raw ingredients, and I've talked to companies that make vitamins for our company, and they'll say, oh, go ahead and use it anyhow, even though it might be moldy. Would you take a vitamin if you knew that the raw ingredients were moldy? So what they do is they shoot the raw ingredients with radiation, kill the mold, and they put it in the product. We won't do that. Guaranteed, we won't do that. We'll throw it away. We'll give it to another company, but we won't use it. So sometimes you'll see that our products are back ordered because something might have been wrong with the raw ingredients, and we're not going to use them. We'd rather back order the product than have products on the shelf that are bad for you. We do our own research. I mean, what's crazy is that we talk about this age film. It's been on the market, is it 2 years?
July 2017.
July 2017, so it hasn't even been on the market for 2 years. It's already been improved 5 times. Right? Think about that. One company comes out with a product that has remarkable success and improves it 5 times in less than 2 years. Right? I mean, to me, that tells me that we're with a company that's got some great products. And for me, I'm a product guy. I want products that if I come to you and I say, here's what it's going to do, and I give it to you, and I know that's what Dr. Lucky does too. If he says this is what it's going to do, you know he's putting his word on it. It's going to do that. That's how I am as well. And then I talk about the compensation plan. It's not that most people get into network marketing, into the business to make a lot of money. But what if you got in it and they gave you your products for free? How long would you take them if they were free?
From now on.
For the rest of your life, right? And so that's what I kind of talk about is how do we get everybody where they can get their product for free? And the opportunity is just crazy. I mean, you look at the room. I mean, there's a dozen of us here. When I was in Michigan, we did 2 meetings in Michigan this week. There was about a dozen people in the room, in each room there. I'll be in Minneapolis, I'll be in Tulsa, I'll be up in Omaha. We're going to have about a dozen people in every room. You think about that, this opportunity is wide open. If you want to go out and you actually want to make a business out of it, this is what I do full time now. I spent when it was 37 below in North Dakota in February, I was in Australia.
My goodness.
It was 150-degree temperature change the day I left. I didn't have to endure that cold weather. You've been up in Michigan and your wife's been up in Spokane. It gets cold. And it doesn't seem to go away. I mean, it's cold down to the bone. These are the Mowers. This is Tom. He started this company with his son. Tom is almost 80 years old. His son is the same age as me, in his 50s. His grandson and his daughter, they run the company. They've gotten to be friends of mine. I like to hunt. I don't know if any of you are hunters, but I love to hunt. If you go out there and you meet these guys, they all love to hunt. Even the daughter likes to hunt. Right? And it's a great way of providing good meat for the family, but it's a great way of bonding with your family as well. I get out with my kids, I get to spend time with them, and so I've gotten to be friends, and we get to go out and do that. We have cutting-edge products for anti-aging. We have products, I'm going to go over a couple of them, but they really are cutting edge. When I go over them, you're going to say, wow. We've got personal care products that I'll cover a little bit. We've got weight loss products that, you're probably saying, oh, they don't work. Look at him. But I like to eat. I find food. Right, so I have a little hard time with that. But we have general health products that to help keep people healthy. This age belt, again, it's based on getting rid of the decay and the degeneration, slowing down the age process, getting it so they have super nutrients so that we can increase the energy to the cells. Any of you that know, remember your high school biology, you heard of something called NAD and ATP. Did you hear about ATP? Are you in, how old are you?
I'm 12.
12? So you probably haven't had any cell biology yet. But ATP is the fuel. It's like the gasoline for your car. It's the gasoline for your body. And so what they found is that the age pill not just removes the glycation and the lipofuscin, but it bumps up the energy to the cells, so it gives you more energy. Who couldn't use that? Who couldn't use more energy? And like Andrea said, make you feel like you're 20 years old, make you look like you're 20 years old again. TSX is based on science from the 2009 Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize said that we can take and we can reverse the age of your DNA. Your DNA, on the end of your DNA, when your mom and dad got together and conceived you, it was like a fuse got lit. And this fuse, it starts burning from the day that you're conceived till the day you die. But what happens is that when you're young, when you're a young guy, when you're in your 20s, this fuse burns real slow. When you get to be 30, 40 years old, it's burning a little faster. When you get to be 50, 60, it's burning faster. When you get to be 80, it's burning faster. But at the same time, you get fewer and fewer of these repair cells, these stem cells. So your body's decreasing on the stem cells. It's decreasing on the amount of energy that's being produced. So everything's kind of working against you as you get older. So the 2009 Nobel Prize, they found that they can take and using plant extracts, they can actually take it on the end of that fuse, they can add more fuse to it. So as it's burning a day, it's adding a day on. Burn a day, add a day on. Burn a day, add a day on. And isn't that an easy way to explain telomeres?
Yeah.
And so as you explain the telomere science behind that, that's what you're doing. And so we came up with our own product. And I can't say, because I'm not a scientist, I can't say that our product is immensely better than the other ones on the market. But in my opinion, if you've got a product that's got 10 times more ingredients, the same ingredients that the other companies are using, wouldn't you say it's going to be at least 10 times better?
Yep.
Does that deal with telomeres? Is that the telomere, the end of the cell?
It looks like the end of your shoelace that unravels as your shoelace wears off. That's what the telomeres are. Yeah.
We've been taught that.
Yeah.
You've been talking about that?
No, we've been taught that.
Yeah, you've been told
Yeah.
that. See? We're on the same page.
He's a good teacher.
And so this product here, it rebuilds that. It puts the new shoelace on. It fixes that. That's what this product does. And some people say, oh, it's an expensive product. I'm not going to take it. Well, it's expensive because one of the ingredients, the active ingredient, it costs $84,000 per kilo for cycloestragonol. That's how expensive the one raw ingredient is. $84,000 per kilo. Do you know what a kilo is in pounds?
2.
2 pounds, a little over 2 pounds, right? So think about that. That's $42,000 per pound. That's expensive. And so that's why the product is a little bit more expensive. It's not like just going out there and plucking an apple and taking the core out and putting it in a bottle. I mean, it's a little bit more expensive than that. They have to take a bunch of the astragalus, probably about the size of this room, and out of the size of this room of that much of astragalus, you get 1 kilo. It melts down to just that amount. And so it gets to be an expensive product, but compared to the other products on the market that are in the same category, ours is about 1/3 of the price, but about 10 to 30 times stronger, depending on how you look at the science behind it. When I first started taking that product, when I started using TSX, I was going to get my hair cut. And I've been on it for about 30 or 60 days, and the gal that cuts my hair, she said, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know, getting my hair cut. I didn't know what she was talking about. She said, no, you had a big bald spot back here, and it's filling in. And so you're hearing a lot of people talking about hair growth. And isn't hair one of those things that you notice as you get older, start to turn a little gray, right? I know you probably got a little gray. It wasn't always gray, right?
Yeah, it's always been gray. I'm actually dyeing mine black. No.
But You hear a lot of people talking about it because it's one of those signs of aging. And so if you can reverse that, like Andrea is saying, Andrea's hairstylist was at the first meeting I went to in Michigan, and she said that she doesn't color Andrea's hair anymore. And that's pretty cool. To be able to, you said 64 years old and not have to color your hair anymore, and it's colored, the color's coming back.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. This is a new product that just came out in the last 3 months. It's called Super H2 Water, and Dr. Lucky was talking about hydrogen water. And a lot of times the hydrogen water that you see, you have to go buy these expensive machines, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to buy a machine that makes a hydrogen water product. We've heard of people saying they have this alkaline water, right? Have you heard of alkaline water? And where they alter the pH in the water and things like that. So what they found is that when they started actually looking at the science behind it, they found that it was the hydrogen in the water that made it important. But those machines, they were producing hydrogen water that's really weak. Tom Maurer, the owner and scientist behind Sizzle, figured out a way of making a product that's 15 times stronger. So we can take this little stick, this little sachet, tear it open, and you can dump it into a glass of water, and you can have a glass of hydrogen water. Just that quickly. It takes 10 minutes to make it. And it produces so much that if you put in a plastic water bottle, I've seen it pop the top off the water bottle. That's how much hydrogen pressure it'll generate. So just a great product. A lot of people are using it for energy because it produces that hydrogen for ATP. This is another product. We had a testimonial the other night up in Michigan on this one. 4 Restore is also based on Nobel Prize science. 1998, a group of scientists found that they could make it so that your arteries would stay flexible, L-arginine, and made it so that it lowers blood pressure. I was having high blood pressure, and I started taking this product, and my blood pressure dropped. And the guy that was at the meeting the other night, he said that he used to get this pounding in his head. He said after he started taking this, within a short period of time, all that pounding that he used to feel from his blood pressure was gone. Blood pressure is a major problem in our country, right? Isn't it one of those symptoms of heart disease? And remember on my slide where I was talking about the 10 top killers? Heart disease was up in the top. It was actually number 1. Blood pressure is one of the major problems. So if you could lower that blood pressure by taking an L-arginine product, wouldn't it be easy to do? This is one of the products that I take every single day. It actually helps build muscle as well. And then just here, about 2 months ago, we introduced CBD. And CBD is one of those hot products. I mean, everywhere you go. We've been driving and stopping at gas stations, and Andrea will go inside. So guess what? They're selling CBD in the gas station. Right? Up in North Dakota, they just passed a medical marijuana law. You see a lot of states passing medical marijuana law. And my thing is I'm looking at it going, well, if you can get all the benefits from the CBD oil without the psychoactive benefits, without having to get that high feeling, wouldn't it be more important to use CBD? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that make much more sense? And so that's what I'm trying to tell these docs that I know up there. Don't prescribe the medical marijuana. Have them try this. Now, there's certain conditions that they do need more of the THC because it is medically benefit. But for most conditions, what would you say? Like 90% of the people who need medical marijuana could get by with CBD. Right? About 80-90%. Wouldn't you say they could get by with this? And it gets rid of all that. So, people like my mom and dad. My dad's had 3 different kinds of cancer. He turned 82 this year, and he's beat them all. 82 years old, and I got him taking this to help out with a little bit of arthritic pain, things like that. They're traveling around the country. Instead of planning funerals, they're planning vacations again. Right? And I just think, isn't that cool that you can do that? And it's based on CBD that comes from hemp, which just passed the Farm Bill in the United States that says farmers can grow this. It can be sold legally in 47 out of 50 states. Most companies, they make a product that's only got 5 milligrams of the CBD in the product. So when you take it, it just doesn't have enough of the CBD to actually work. They show for most things, most health conditions where you need CBD, you need at least 25 milligrams or more. Some conditions you need up to 300 milligrams. And so if you're taking something that's got 5 milligrams, you're going to use it up pretty quickly. Here we've got a product that's 5 times stronger than that, and it's guaranteed. We use third-party testing to make sure that when you get it, it says on the label, that's what you're getting. Dr. Oz had a program here. Everybody watches Dr. Oz, right? No, I don't either, but I saw the episode because I wanted to watch it. And Dr. Oz said that of all the products he tested, he's found that about 80% of them didn't match the label claims. So what it said on the label wasn't actually what was in the product. We guarantee ours with third-party testing. Our company's actually been, we had the FDA come in and investigate the company, so we actually don't just guarantee it to all of us, we guarantee it through the FDA. We have to guarantee it to them. All the people at the company had to get fingerprinted by the FBI to make sure that they weren't making an illegal product. I think that's important because it tells me that we're going to be transparent about it. We're going to be on the up and up when we make a product. And just another one of the products that really works. You heard Andrea talking about the triangle of life. I'm not going to get really into a lot of the science, but here's 3 liquid products. One that lowers inflammation. And if you've got arthritis, if you've got Alzheimer's, if you've got heart disease, if you've got any kind of health problem, chronic health problem, inflammation is a major component of it. When you look at Eternity has an ingredient called resveratrol. Has anybody ever heard that red wine is good for you? Right? And it's because of resveratrol. Resveratrol is an ingredient that's found in the skin of grapes. It's found in the root of the grape plant. It's found in the grape seed. And what this resveratrol does is it turns on a gene in your body called the SIRT1 gene. And you don't have to remember all this stuff, but the SIRT1 gene is the gene that repairs damaged DNA. And we all have damaged DNA. As we get older, we have damaged DNA. And resveratrol fixes that. And so, if it fixes the DNA, isn't it going to make it so you feel and look and act younger? And when you look at the product, one little shot glass, a 1 ounce shot glass, is the equivalent of drinking 380 glasses of red wine. Right? I mean, 380 glasses of red wine might make a better evening, but right? This is going to make you feel better in the morning. Then you have Spectrumax, which is minerals. You get 74 trace minerals that your body needs, and it's delivered with something called fulvic acid. And what fulvic acid does is what comes out of the plants, like trees. When they're, have you ever looked at a tree growing out of the side of a rock? Ever notice that when you're going canoeing or anything, you see a tree growing out of the side of the rock? You wonder, how did that tree ever grow into the rock? What happens is those roots emit something called fulvic acid, and it dissolves the rock and it absorbs the minerals through the root, and it's actually using that rock to make the tree. Well, we need fulvic acid in our body for the same reason, to move those ingredients in and out of the cells so that we get those healthy minerals. So we put that in with our mineral product. We have a skincare product. I was talking about skincare that makes you look and feel younger. Here's one that helps the skin. It's got 24 active ingredients that really work. We've got toothpaste and shampoo and laundry detergent. You know, a lot of people they don't think about what they put in their washing machine. But you wear your clothes most of the time. You have clothes on, and when it's rubbing up against your skin, if you're using a laundry detergent that has something toxic, isn't it eventually going to rub into your skin? Mm-hmm. And so they found that a lot of laundry detergents have something called BPA, and it has different kinds of ingredients that will actually absorb into the skin and trigger cancer to grow. So we have ingredients that uses natural enzymes to wash the clothes. We have natural toothpaste to clean the teeth and help actually grow enamel. Shampoo that makes your hair grow. And then we were talking about the compensation plan. And I'm not going to get way into this. I'm just going to tell people, like I was telling Dr. Lucky earlier, the compensation plan is designed in a way there where you can get started if you just want to buy products for yourself and you want to learn how to get them free. You just tell a couple people, and you're going to make enough money that you're going to get your products free. But if you want to do like I'm doing, where you can make enough money to make a living at it, you can travel the world, get to go to Europe and the Orient, get to go down to Australia, travel the United States. I can show you how to make it so that you can make some good money with it. There's people in the company who are making $70,000 a month. So there's some good money if you really want to do it. And the opportunity, like I said, I mean, it's just really wide open. You can go all around the world. You can talk to people about it. We're open in 47 countries, every state. You can go anywhere in the United States, and you're going to find people that haven't heard about it. And so that's really my presentation. What I like to do, and I know you guys are working with Dr. Lucky, but I always end all my presentations with this, is that a lot of times after you hear a presentation, it gets you thinking. And it gets you thinking, like you were asking some question, is there anything to help out with lungs? And I know you're thinking, is there anything that helps make it so you can guarantee that you can live to be 120? And so what I would try and do is I offer people a way that if they want to find out my opinion, if you want to find out what I would do for this or what I would do with that, I always offer everybody a chance to have a free consultation with me. And I do that over the phone, and we can give you my website for that, and you can go schedule. I have an online scheduler for that, and I can help out that way. And I don't just work with these products, but like Dr. Lucky, I mean, we're doctors. We gotta work with what works, and so we try and help out. Sometimes it's just changing diet, and sometimes it's not adding things. Sometimes it's taking things away. That can make the biggest difference. So that's what we try and do. Dr. Lucky, you want to close the evening?
I guess so. Well, I believe we all have the same blueprint as Methuselah.
Yes.
And Methuselah lived 969 years. So what is keeping us from living 969 years? Of course, because of the fall of man, and that you read in Genesis, you know, the DNA was damaged.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're talking about tonight is taking the damaged DNA and using natural ways, not to treat. You know, as a physician, I can never say anything is to treat, prevent, cure, mitigate, or substitute for any type of medical therapy. We're not about disease. We're treating the whole body. And when you treat the whole body and support the whole body, that really unleashes the healing potential of the body. So instead of 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And people can see very quickly how these products change people's lives in a matter of weeks. And that's why I support the use of these products, and along with everything else that we do around here. But we are so thankful for such a great presentation, Brother Dr. Fizz, and we want to give him a good hand. From all the way from down here, from Mumble, and also Andrea, because Andrea is support that we have, and she's always been there for me. Every time I call her, she's always been willing to lend a hand. Sometimes we didn't do things too much technologically. Things sort of went crazy on our videos we try to make, but that's not Andrea's fault. That's
It might have been my fault.
The technology is not there, or maybe we don't know. I don't know how to use the technology, but we appreciate everybody coming, so just meet with us, and we can tell you more about the information. And we always like to end in prayer, and